Hey guys, and welcome back to the first 2023 episode of The Lion's Den, which still feels mad to say that I'm entering the year where I turn 18 in less than 2 weeks, go to university and finish my A-levels. 2023 certainly is not going to be dull. So today, as we enter the new year, I want to focus on something which is very important to me personally, and that is New Year's resolutions and the association and stigma these have with eating disorders and diet culture, and the pressure of the new year brings of having a new you and a new body with these constant fixations on exercise and obsessing over diet plans, meal plans, and changing who you are physically instead of becoming a better person either mentally or with your personality. For me, and I know for others who are also in recovery, it's difficult with people who are either currently going through it or have had past difficulties with their eating. It feels hard and uncomfortable to have this constant banging and persistent force which seems to enforce and pressure you into changing what you look like, and it's made to feel as if you have to change and there is like something in everyone that has to be changed and nobody is essentially immune from this, which for someone who's trying to recover and learn to love their own body and accept it for the first time, that can be difficult for the society and the media around you is telling you that you need to change, because that's what it starts to feel like. For me, there always seems to be a constant emphasis and circulation of weight loss products, and the emphasis on losing, I'm going to say this in inverted commas, the Christmas weight, which, I'm not going to lie, does anger me and frustrate me, because we should be measuring and celebrating our Christmas with the memories we've made, the people we spent time with, the laughs, and just what we did, instead of counting how many calories we ate or how many chocolates we ate. It really doesn't matter as long as we look back on it and enjoy it, because I saw this post the other day on Instagram which really made me look back on things, and it said, are you really gonna look back on that Christmas and call it, oh no, the Christmas you had a mince pie? Or are you gonna look back and be like, oh, that's a Christmas where we played Trivia Pursuit or went out ice skating, went to Winter Wonderland? You're going to remember the memories and the laughs and just the enjoyment with your family. You're not going to regret eating that one thing 4 or 5 years down the line, even a week down the line. It really doesn't matter. And that's one of the hardest things with recovery, personally for me as well, is especially over Christmas time, you have a lot of the introduction and fear foods around you. And for people who are unaware of what a fear food is, to sum it up, a fear food is basically, for someone who's going through recovery, it's a food which they label bad, and that might be influenced by the diet culture of the society, which label foods as bad and good, when in reality they should just be if you like it or not if they're good or bad. No foods are good and bad. But a fear food is essentially a food which, when you have been struggling or are still struggling, you have fear and have this anxiety of eating it and you basically shy away from it. But recently for me, I've been setting myself a goal of having a fear food a day, which at first when I told myself I was going to do this seemed absolutely daunting and so scary at the thought of eating something which will make me worry and stress every day. But like I said to myself, recovery will never be easy, and you have to break through that barrier of being uncomfortable and dealing with the feeling of being full and actually enjoying that rather than finding it uncomfortable. Recovery will never be easy, so you have to break through these things. So for me, a nice little celebration of Christmas this year was having my first advent calendar in 2 years, which I know seems so small to some people, but just the thought of being able to indulge and involve myself in traditions which I've done since I was a child And I just thought myself, what would little Sophie say to me now if I knew that I wasn't having an advent calendar or I wasn't doing something else to do with Christmas? She'd ask why, and it's just, you need to think, like, that's what always kept me going on recovery, and it still does now. It's like, what would the smaller version of yourself say to you now? Why are you doing this? So the time of Christmas can be hard for people who are in recovery. The thought of having big meals together with lots of people, having chocolates around constantly, and lots of other fear foods. But my biggest achievement was also having a Christmas dinner for the first time in 2 years and letting someone else control what I'm eating, which for me, in my journey, has been the hardest thing, is that recovery leads to a sense of a lack of control, essentially. You don't know what you'll eat next, what someone's putting in your food, but it's something you have to break away from, and you have to allow that control to be taken away from yourself and let someone else decide and sort it out for you, and actually enjoy that and cherish it and think, someone's cooking for me, they're putting their love, time and effort into something. It's time to actually appreciate the food, the flavours, the textures, and just how nice the food actually is, instead of worrying that you're going to stress about this later. It's about enjoying the food in the moment and healing your relationship with food instead. Which is why when the new year rolls around afterwards with this fixation on diet culture and changing how you look and losing weight can become very triggering for those who are still trying to recover. And for me, each year when this new diet culture rolls around, it still is a trigger for me, and it's just about recognising those signs and realising that, okay, yeah, this is actually quite difficult for me to hear and see and be bombarded with every single day, but there are ways we can cope with this. And for me, it's just celebrating small achievements every single day. Sometimes a New Year's resolution can seem daunting and overwhelming. The thought that you have to stay committed and achieve this across the whole year may seem like too long of a time span. So for me, it's about every single day taking a little step and appreciating small things. So The Apprentice was back last week, so that's a little thing for me to just sit down and watch that after I get back from sixth form, or having your favourite meal for dinner, or having a cuddle with your cat, or listening to your favourite music. Just little things each day is something which, when I was going through therapy, which is something which I used to be afraid to admit, but now I see it as a strength, that I recognised I needed the help, I went and got it, and it set me up on my path for recovery. And now that I'm out of it, it's set me up on my next stage of my recovery. So it's something which I embrace and I'm proud of now, and I'm not shying away from. But I remember they always said that if you appreciate just a little tiny thing each day, the bigger things will seem so much more important, and you can develop that positive mental attitude and that optimism so much quicker. So how do we remove this negativity of the diet culture around the new year? Well, the other day I saw something where you can actually update your preferences on Instagram. So if you go on the sidebar on your profile and go into settings and ads and ad topics, some accounts will let you search in the ad topics, and you can click on body weight control and put your preference as to see less of that, which would be absolutely amazing to be able to just open up your account and not have to be bombarded by it constantly. But for me, my favourite account to follow is Nellie London, who doesn't essentially focus on eating disorder recovery, but focuses on just enjoying who you are and embracing it. It's just about embracing who you are and loving it instead. And especially with the new year, this fixation on exercise is especially a trigger, and it's the control of feeling like you have to go back into a regime and routine. But for me, something which I've been very proud of is finding joy in exercise again, not doing it for obsession or weighing yourself, and not having life driven by a number, not weighing your food out constantly, not weighing how much you are of changing. It really doesn't matter. I've started to live life and just measure life by memories and laughter and just enjoyment and facing new challenges. Adapting is such a hard part of recovery. It's facing new scenarios, especially ones you didn't expect to happen, and having to cope with that is one of the hardest parts of recovery. But for me, finding joy in exercise has been through dance workouts, whether that be Taylor Swift, One Direction, or Mamma Mia, just anything just to get me up and moving, just to make me feel good, and that's all that matters. I don't have to be there to burn a certain amount of calories or do this or do it a certain amount of times a week. It's just about enjoying it, and that's a good thing. So, especially at this New Year's, it's so important to surround yourself with the support and love and optimism you need to unfollow and remove yourself from that negative burden that diet culture brings every single year. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm still not fully recovered, but I just call myself slowly healing, and it is a process. And I know that it will never be easy, but it's just about being proud of little things you achieve and knowing there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's already got better now, so it can only go up from there. Looking back on 2022, little things like eating out more, getting takeaways, not using scales, just adapting, and most importantly, just recognising the importance of rest. And that isn't just rest in exercise, that's rest mentally as well. It's recognising what you can do to make yourself feel more positive. For me, that's music, whether that be a bit of S Club 7 or Sam Fender, Alfie Templeman, anything just to put my headphones in and escape everything. Books, and for me, one of my favourite things to give myself a little positive boost is buy myself a bouquet of flowers. I know it sounds stupid, but it just always makes me happy, so it's something I always lead to. But I think as we enter the new year, especially for me, with the diet culture and having to make sure that you still engage with yourself in society, but just ignore the aspects and the negativity and the burden that causes on you. Because I know it can feel tempting that you see this diet culture and persistent needing to change from society can make you want to just hide into your own shell and hide away from society and ghost it completely. But we need to realise the importance of still engaging in our society and becoming a part, still being with your friends, socialising, taking part in everything, but just recognising the triggers and breaking away from them and feeling like you're not determined by food, because food is fuel. I always link this to my car, which sadly we had to get rid of at the start of this year, but we still do. When the orange light came on, it's obviously shown you have to fill up, and that's the same with humans. We should never have to see our metaphorical orange light, essentially. If we keep ourselves fueled, then we can live by the memories, not live by you have to eat at this time and you can't eat these groups. It's just having that food freedom of eating when and what you want. Like, food isn't just for energy and weight gain. People automatically think if you eat more, then you're going to gain weight. When in reality, our body's needs and wants change every single day. Some days you'll need more, some days you'll feel less. It's completely different. You may be recovering from an illness. Your body uses energy to keep you warm. It moves you around. It is your home. So why do we not give it the same love that we give our own homes? It is what we are living in, so it deserves love and care always. One of my motivations for recovery was thinking what this energy could give to me that I will get from recovery. And for me, it's achieving my goals and ambitions for the next year, whether that be setting up my podcast, going to university, doing an apprenticeship. It's about using the energy to pursue your next stage in life and not be worried about what recovery can bring, because let's be honest, it's going to be good. So, and that's another thing, is the fear of the unknown of recovery. You've been in this mindset what I feel like is you've been in this mindset for so long and you have this control over your eating and your methods. The thought of changing that and becoming different and recovering scares you, when in reality we need to break away and realise each step we take is a step closer to recovery, and we are healing. So, as you know, there are charities out there to help, such as Beat and Seed, and there's also one called Male Voiced, which I think is particularly important because it gives an emphasis and a voice to men with eating disorders, which I believe is sometimes hidden away when it shouldn't have to be, because anyone could suffer and there is no indication. It's different for everyone. There is no one route to recovery, and that's something which I need to emphasise, that everyone recovers differently, and just the most important thing for everyone is just getting that support and love from everyone else. Asking for help is never a sign of weakness. Everyone used to believe that asking for help is giving a burden to someone else and you're worrying and stressing them, when in reality you're recognising that your body needs help and you're recognising what you need to do to help yourself. And surely that's a good thing. You want a better future for yourself, and that's going to affect the people around you too. So you're building and consolidating your relationships with everyone. It's just so important to value yourself, say no and set your boundaries when you need to, but also say yes, and use that energy from recovery to take up new opportunities and just see what the new year brings. Take every chance, and if a New Year's resolution for the whole year seems too much, just think about maybe one just daily, just getting out of bed, making your bed, making yourself a cup of tea, just small things, and then you can branch out to ones every month. And then slowly that sense of achievement is going to motivate you and make you feel more determined for that recovery to become even easier. So I hope me sharing my story and showing the importance of recovery and how it isn't something which you should be scared to admit you're going through, which I was for a long time, but it's something to show that yes, I did struggle and I do still struggle now, but I've recognised the importance of addressing these, and I am on the road to recovery. Some days are better than others, but recovery is never linear. So it's just important to ask for support when you need it, recognise the signs when you can feel yourself spiralling or getting worse, and just adapting to a new world, embracing 2023 as the year for you that isn't selfish as well. It's about putting yourself first, responding to the needs of your body so you can feel as powerful and amazing as you can, because I know it can feel uncomfortable and recovery is hard. Whatever anyone says, it is hard. Some days I do just want to lie in bed and cry because I never think it's going to change, but it will. You will break through that barrier of feeling uncomfortable and the days will get easier. And I know this whole New Year period can be hard and overwhelming, but it's just about finding those coping mechanisms. How to cope with your stress is so important. So for me, I might just go and watch Bridget Jones in the evening if it all gets too much after school, or I'll go and make myself a hot chocolate or from school every day, or I'll just go and just sit in my bed and put my favourite music on and just put my playlist on shuffle and see what comes up. So if I want to leave you with one thing, I want to prove to you that it isn't shameful to speak up and say that you're struggling, because I lived like that for so long. By lying and saying you were right and brushing it under the carpet is the worst thing you could have done. The sooner you say to someone that you need help is such a sign of strength. You're recognising and acknowledging the power of others around you too, and you want your future to be better, and that's such a sign of strength. So next time, speak out to anyone, get the support you need, realise that 2023 is for you and anything could happen, and use that as motivation to make the change you want to do. Go and travel to that country, or read that book, or learn that thing you wanted to do, learn that new skill. anything you want to do is possible if we fuel ourselves and realise that we can be valued, and it's good to be proud and acknowledge the achievements we do. Set our boundaries, and 2023 can be positive for everyone. Join me next time in the den as I provide you with more memories, laughs and empowerments for us as the next generation.